Hello, welcome new moon. We are a little over 24 hours away from the new moon in Aquarius, and I am Carla Sanders, the Cosmic Crone, and I'm very happy to be with you today to share the new moon in Aquarius Divine Feminine Astrology reading. It's always fascinating to look at these charts and to say, well, what's going on right now? Because so much has been happening in Capricorn. Capricorn is all about the great conjunction between Saturn and Pluto, and then coming soon, Jupiter and Pluto, and then in no time at all, in 11 months from now, it will be Jupiter and Saturn in the first degree of Aquarius. And so everything is focused on Capricorn. And even today's Divine Feminine Astrology reading is anchored in Capricorn. Jupiter is in Capricorn, and Jupiter is moving in close harmony with a conjunction in Pisces, Venus and Psyche. And that's the story I want to tell today. Venus and Psyche are in close harmony with my beloved asteroid, Vesta. I am in love with Vesta right now. She is really talking to me in a personal way. She is at 14 Taurus, and she is trine Pluto. And so these planets are creating an opportunity for growth right now at this time of the new moon. The new moon is in Aquarius, moon and sun together at 422. This is the sign of the collective, the greater good, social justice, social innovation, the place of the utopia, the higher ideals, using our social relationships and social structures to enhance humanity, to bring humanity to a new level. When I was a kid, the song of the time from Hair, it is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and I still don't even understand how that works. And 50 years later, we're still in the dawning of the age of Aquarius. What that song doesn't talk about is how the age of Pisces has to die. And this is on a great macro scale, the initiation journey. We as a collective are moving through this initiation journey. And it's scary. It's scary to look at what's going on in the world and to feel powerless to change it. What we do always have power over is what is going on in our own lives and how we will use our inner power to become who we are meant to be, to allow the divine within us to flow and shine and be present. We are divine beings having a human experience with a purpose, and that is what I want to describe today. Now, Vesta is the priestess. So we have Jupiter, the king of the gods, the great expander, the great good luck. Jupiter brings prosperity, abundance, good luck, expansion. And I always say when Jupiter is involved, pay special attention to your thoughts and how you are, and your vibration, because Jupiter will expand whatever you give him to expand. So if you're wanting more of the positive, more peace, love, abundance, health, pleasure, more meaning, more purpose, then keep that vibration growing and high. Hi, Teresa. Good to see you. Keep up leveling. Keep tweaking. Be aware of what you are bringing to the table, what you are bringing to Jupiter, so that you are expanding more of what you want. I could make a case. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. We make it all up. Let's choose what supports us in being the human beings we want to be. So that's going on, and Jupiter is in a flow with Vesta, the priestess, the one who intercedes between the world of the body, the world of the erotic, the created world of form, and the human world, and the world of the divine. She keeps the sacred flame going with her devotion to her practice, to purpose, to truth. So Vesta is here to help you with that alignment of your vibration, that clarity about what you want and why you're here and what you're going to do with yourself. And then these two converge their energies on a point in Pisces. And that point, this has been going on all week. Venus moves pretty quickly. And so at this moment, Venus is at the same degree. Venus and the asteroid Psyche are both in the 11th into the 12th degree of Pisces. And on this new moon chart, 24 hours from now, Venus will have moved ahead to 13, and Psyche will be at 12. But they're still working together, and this has been applying all week. What does this matter? There is a profound myth about Venus and Psyche. Let's talk about what they mean. Venus is the goddess, the bright and shining one, the visible one, the morning star, the evening star. She's incredibly important to many ancient civilizations. The myth of Inanna, the initiation journey of Inanna descending to the underworld and returning, is embodied in our skies by the planet Venus. And Venus was also really important to the Mayans. They tracked the Venus's path through the sky, and the way that she seemed to travel into the underworld or between the worlds of morning and evening truly honored her and understood her. And then there's Psyche. Psyche, I have heard her energy described as the wound we believe we cannot heal. Psyche was a human, a mortal, who experienced what appeared to be terrible luck. I have read different versions of the story, and one version I've read says, she just couldn't cut a break. She was incredibly beautiful. She was the most beautiful of three sisters, the youngest and most beautiful. So beautiful, and this is where her bad luck started, that her town, her community, stopped honoring the temple of Venus, the goddess of beauty, and began to give offerings to Psyche. Well, Psyche was a young and foolish girl, far from being a goddess, and she was mortal. And in no way did she actually deserve these accolades, nor did she ask for them. Venus was furious and jealous, and basically told her family that she would marry a monster, that ill luck would follow her all of her life, and they even suggested that she just sacrifice her, make this beautiful young maiden go away. And so there's a story there where Psyche was put out on the rock to be sacrificed. There are many stories like that involving different beautiful maidens throughout time, through the mythology. So Psyche gets to be one of those. And she was rescued. And Venus was pissed off. So Venus gets her son, Cupid, to come and pierce Psyche with his arrow. So that, and what happens is that when Cupid pierces you with his arrow, you fall in love with the first thing you see. And so Psyche was supposed to fall in love with a monster, a really ugly creature, which would seal her fate. But instead, actually, Cupid looks at her, and he's so undone by her beauty that he pierces himself. He falls in love with her. And so comes this very romantic mystery where he marries Psyche, but she doesn't know who she's marrying. She can only come to him in the dark. She has no idea if she's making love to a monster. She kind of assumes that she is, because that's been the curse of the goddess. And yet she is living in this beautiful divine palace with golden columns and, mystical, magical music and incredible food and invisible servants attending to her every desire. And at night, she's having fabulous sex with, she doesn't know who. Well, her sisters come to visit her, and they are incredibly envious. And they plant a seed. You're here married to this monster. You really need to do something about that. You need to kill him. So the Psyche is swayed by this. Remember, she's young and innocent and not incredibly wise. So she listens to her older sisters, and she takes a lit candle into her bedchamber and beholds Cupid, and is so undone that she drips hot wax on him. He wakens, realizes he has been discovered, the spell is broken, he disappears, and she is abandoned by great love. And she is now at the mercy. You see, Cupid's love protected her from Venus's wrath, but now that protection is withdrawn, and so Psyche is taken into Venus's power. And I read something where Venus made as her companions sorrow and worry. So here is Psyche, the wound you cannot heal. You're sorrowful, you're worried, you have great luck, and you lose it through your own foolishness. You can't trust anyone, because even your own family is advising you or putting you out on the rocks. And now you're in the power of your enemy, the great goddess. And what Venus winds up doing is giving Psyche impossible tasks. And the penalty of each of these tasks is death. And no one can do these tasks. And this is very similar to other fairy tales throughout. This theme that is very old permeates Northern European fairy tales in different stories. Vasilisa the Beautiful, and different, in some ways even Rumpelstiltskin, spinning straw into gold, the impossible task, which is what initiation feels like. It feels like I'm actually in the midst of impossible tasks of my own as part of my crone initiation. This happens to us throughout our lives, where it's time to grow and it feels so impossible. And whatever that journey might be for us, whether it's around healing from illness or healing our minds or doing the daring, brave thing or meeting the impossible challenge, here's the thing. These are all natural initiations that are part of the rhythm of life. And we have these stories to support us and help us. So what happens with Psyche when Venus takes her into the room and says, see all these poppy seeds and all these corn seeds, separate them. I want 2 separate piles, perfect, by dawn. Well, Psyche says, where's a knife? I'm going to slit my throat. And honestly, I think ants come and take them apart. Somehow, she is on the, and this may be, wow, I'm just having a few little synapses fire as I talk. Psyche says, I give up. I can't do this. This is impossible. And so the fact that I'm going to kill myself is a metaphor for surrender. And her inner resources, her intuition, her latent divine power gets the job done. Somehow helpers, magical helpers that are emblematic of her intuitive inner power come and they do the sorting. And so Venus comes the next morning and, oh, the job's done. Well, I have another task for you. So Psyche is supposed to go to this wilderness where these very violent, mean sheep with very special, beautiful wool. These are man-eating sheep. I've never heard of such a thing, but in this myth, this is how they are. Psyche is supposed to take this impossible journey up into the mountains, up into the fields where these sheep live, and get the wool off of them without being killed. Well, she pretty much says, I'm going to just throw myself into the river and drown because I can't do this. And then she falls asleep, has a dream, and somebody says, look around. See all these briars and burrs? There's wool all over. These sheep are shedding and their wool is getting caught on the plants. Go very quietly and gather the wool from the plants and take it back to the goddess. So Psyche does that. And Venus is like, another one. She's got to find another task. So, and honestly, there is a third task and I'm not remembering what it is because I just read it half an hour ago and I don't even remember. It's another impossible task. Intuitively, Psyche does it and Venus says, okay, one more task. Go to the underworld and ask Persephone for her beauty treatment because I need it in order to go to this big meeting on Mount Olympus. And I'm sending you to go get it for me. Well, what we know about the underworld, with the exception of Persephone, who comes back and forth, the only way to get to the underworld is to die. It's a one-way journey. Well, Psyche, she's gathering a little bit of trust and wisdom, and her helpers are getting more elaborate. She has helpers who are giving her advice. Ignore this. The man with the stick, don't look at him. The three-headed dog, don't look at him. The dead man swimming, don't look at them. They'll all distract you. They will take you off course and you will fail. And oh, by the way, here's a dog biscuit for Cerberus, the three-headed dog that guards the entrance to the underworld. And there's a ferryman that will take you across. Most people just get the coin to go one way. Here's 2 coins. You need to come back. So Psyche takes her gifts and she completes the task. She goes and pleads her case with Persephone and says, I need the magic beauty potion for Venus or I'm toast. And she gets back to the above world with the magic potion. but she can't resist opening the bottle. And what happens is she falls into a deep sleep. And Cupid comes and awakens her. He has a role to play in this. But the point of this is, through this process, she emerges in her divinity, her wholeness. She becomes the one who can wear the beauty, she has done all these impossible tasks, and she begins to trust herself and know who she is. She comes into maturity. She becomes on par with the goddess, and is released from Venus's power, and is able to stand in her own power, no longer tortured and tormented by this wound she believes she cannot heal. Through the process of initiation, she heals and is reborn, emerges. So Venus and Psyche are together. They have been traveling together just for this week through Pisces. Now Venus happens to be one of the fish in Pisces. Venus is what we call exalted in Pisces. Her energy is very strong, and right now when you look at her, she's high in the sunset sky and brilliant, and will be for a few more months. But right now she's in Pisces, where she is at home. The earliest story we have of Venus and Cupid is that she and her son dive into the depths of Pisces, into the depths of the ocean, and they manage to save the world. They are able to preserve love and healing and wellness and beauty and abundance as the world is being destroyed by the battle between the gods and the Titans. And when they emerge, they are the two fish bound together by a cord of love, and they are placed in the sky as the sign Pisces. So here we are in Aquarius. The sun is in Aquarius. Venus and Psyche are in Pisces, and they are working this healing. The goddess challenges Psyche. Now, we can tell the story that Venus is jealous and angry and a mean old bitch, and a goddess trying to destroy her rival, both for her son's love and for the people's love. But what does that really mean? What it means is that the innocent girl who cannot own her own power must be destroyed. The one who is swayed by other people's opinions of her. The one who does not trust the truth, who cannot trust the darkness, who cannot trust her own self, that someone in the darkness loves her and adores her and treasures her. That is the Psyche that must be destroyed. And through that destruction, she ultimately emerges as whole and in union, equal power, equal footing with the goddess. So that is what I invite you to meditate upon during this particular new moon. Meditate on what part of you, what incredibly difficult task will require you to kill a part of yourself that is holding you back, keeping you safe, a belief, a habit, a giving a fuck about what other people think of you, distrusting your own intuition and listening to what other people think you should do. What emerges. As you hear my words, something is bubbling to the surface. I know. I can feel it. Look at that. Journal it out. Get really clear on what that's rooted in. And find a way to let it die. And trust that on the other side of that, you will emerge whole, complete, beautiful, in your power, and on the path to receive more of what you want, to have more of what you want, to thrive no matter what else is going on in the world. The only way that we can make the world a better place is to do whatever it takes to become better people, to become stronger, to become whole, to become brave. What's that for you? Thank you for being here. If you have any thoughts about this you'd like to share, I'll be back later to see what you've written. Thanks so much for being here. Bye-bye.